And you are relying on statistics, and you are not looking at humanity, Larry.
What? Larry Elder video is finally here. By popular request, I'm finally reacting to Larry Elder for the first time. A lot of people from the Thomas Sowell video were saying, hey, do you know who Larry Elder is? You should react to him. And I was like, no, I don't know who he is, but I know who he is now. I'm going to be reacting to him. So we're going to be looking into a TMZ interview with Larry Elder, and something tells me that because it's TMZ, they're going to try to rip him a new one. They're going to try to, race bait him and do all this weird stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? Let's see what happens when you put TMZ and Larry Elder in a pot together. I haven't seen Larry Elder, but I know TMZ, so let's see how this goes. Let's do it.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. President Trump made a pretty big move back in August that I think kind of went under the radar. He created a commission, a new commission. It's called the Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys. And earlier this month, he announced that he was appointing to this commission longtime radio host Larry Elder. And I'm really excited to find out what this commission is aiming to do and what they've been able to do at this point, if anything. So obviously it's still early. They're just getting started, but I want to find out all about this. So joining us right now is Larry Elder. Larry, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Harvey, Charles, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Well, as you pointed out, we just now got it started, so we haven't had a meeting yet. And my suspicion is if Donald Trump does not get reelected, we won't have very many meetings at all. But the point is to focus attention on the plight of the black man. The black family is in free fall. In my opinion, because of the welfare state, which was launched in the 1960s with the best of intentions, the so-called war on poverty, we have incentivized women to marry the government and allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. It's not just a problem in the black community where 70% of black kids are raised without fathers, 50% of Hispanic kids are raised without fathers, 25% of young black men, by the way, living in the inner city have criminal records, either in jail, on parole, or on probation, and it is clear that not having a father in the family has deeply, deeply hurt the black community, and Donald Trump is one of the first Republicans to talk about it and to address it.
At the same time, Donald Trump is touting that he feels he has been better for African Americans than anybody except possibly Abraham Lincoln.
Possibly.
And he's trying to paint a fairly rosy picture of what it's like for black people in America under his tutelage. So how do you square the two?
This man is doing something about the economy before the coronavirus pandemic, historically low unemployment. The man has signed the First Step Act, which allowed something like 5,000 mostly black men to have their sentences reconsidered and reduced an average of about 75 months. He's also spent more money on enterprise zones. He's put funding on HBCUs for the first time over a period of 10 years. No one's ever done that before.
The president is also saying that there is no systemic racism in America. There is no systemic racism in policing.
They're gonna start saying, well, but you see what the mainstream media is saying about Donald Trump. I'm not left or I'm not right either, but I'm just gonna say how the game goes is that the media says a certain thing, and Larry Elder, even when he just brought up the statistics and the facts of what is really going on as far as the black success rate in America, and even the family and the poverty rate and everything like that, they're still gonna say, well, but what about all these things? Regardless of all the facts you bring up, what about all the things he has said? Okay, actions speak louder than words. Like I said, I'm no Trump supporter, but I'm only pointing out the obvious. Let's get back into it.
And
there isn't.
Okay. All right.
There is no evidence of systemic racism whatsoever. In fact, the evidence shows the opposite. I was just about ready to say there's a black Harvard professor named Roland Fryer who assumed, just as you did, that the police were killing blacks just because they were black. He did a study. Not only did he not find it, he found out, which tracked other studies, the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a black suspect than on a white suspect. And it's common sense because of people like people in the media who immediately assume that a cop is doing something racist or motivated because the victim is black. They're afraid to shoot a black person much greater than they are afraid to shoot a white person. There are researchers at Washington State that have looked at this for decades and have found the same phenomena. The cops are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a black suspect than on a white suspect. And according to
Larry, just in the last 3 months, we've seen visual evidence that completely goes against that, where we've seen white people get away with Way more.
Larry, you're from Los Angeles, and you know what happened with the Rampart Division. It was an incredible scandal where they were going into the inner city and they were setting people up and planting drugs and doing all this stuff. I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
Harvey, 20 years ago. From 1992 to 2002, Los Angeles had back-to-back black police chiefs, even during the O.J. Simpson case. And what happened?
But that doesn't mean
you're confused, Larry.
You can't look at a black police chief and say, therefore, there isn't systemic racism.
Right. We had a black president. Is there no racism in America then, Larry? I mean, come on.
First you said systemic racism. Now you're saying racism. Which one do you want?
No, I'm saying
there's no evidence. There's no evidence whatsoever of systemic racism. I ask you to prove it.
A cop watching somebody run away, a black man run away, shooting him and killing him. A guy walking into a convenience store, shooting him and killing him. Larry, we've seen this.
Okay.
Once again, going back to what the media shows versus what the statistics are. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't, as we already know, there are many black people who have been killed. There's always going to be racist people in any category or any group. I'm not sitting up here saying that, there aren't racist white people. No, of course there's racist white people, just like there's racist black people or racist Hispanic people or whatever the case is. But they're going along with what the mainstream narrative has been saying and has been said and has brainwashed many people to believe and think. And honestly, I think the goal for that, as I've said before, is the division, is getting people to get in a certain state of mind. So when they do look at a white person, they're just like, oh, he's gonna shoot me, or oh, this and oh, that. Like, I'm not gonna say that those things aren't obsolete from society. The thing I like about Larry Elder is that he knows his stuff. He's bringing up the numbers. He's bringing up the statistics of the black on white crime. I'm not saying they're trying to ignore the facts, but they're trying to ignore the facts.
Larry, I hear what you're saying about the studies.
Harvey, let me try it this way. There are 50 million police-civilian interactions every single year. Out of that 50 million, there are 11 million arrests. Out of that 11 million arrests, 60,000 officers are assaulted. Out of all of that, 1,000 civilians are killed. Half of them are white, 250 of them were black. Almost all of them were resisting with a weapon or resisting violently. When you get down to unarmed black men being shot by white cops, you're talking about less than 4% of the total. And unarmed does not mean not dangerous. Michael Brown was unarmed, but he was reasonably perceived as dangerous. It is rare, Harvey. You guys are exaggerating this. When a white person gets killed by a cop, nobody gives a damn. When a black person gets killed by a cop, people are out in the streets. And in Philadelphia, you're talking about a city where the captain of the city council is black. Almost every single member of city council is a Democrat. They've had black mayors. The police chief is a black female, and you're still talking about systemic racism. It's ridiculous. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Really.
Dang.
You're making the country worse.
Larry, I'm going to be very clear about something.
Hold on, Charles.
I sleep just fine at night, and maybe you do too, and that's fine. So we're going to disagree on this.
Maybe you should be. Maybe you should be, Larry, because there is a problem in this country. There is a problem in this country, and you are relying on statistics, and you are not looking at humanity, Larry.
What? You're relying on statistics and you're not looking at humanity? Did he just say, if my ears heard that correctly, is he saying, why are you looking at the facts? Ignore the facts? Yo, if that's what he's saying, society, we have fallen so far. Oh my goodness, how far we have fallen. Why in the world would you look at statistics as facts? What does he mean by that anyway? You're looking at statistics? I think what he's trying to say, you're looking at statistics versus experience. The facts are still the facts. I like this Larry Elder guy. I like this guy. Like I said, I'm not left or right, but I just love how he can bring the facts to the table. Oh my goodness.
It's called facts. It's called evidence.
Well, I gave you
open your eyes, Larry. There's evidence. There's visual evidence every day. Open your eyes if you're not seeing it.
1997, Time Magazine, CNN asked black teens and white teens about racism. Is racism a major problem? This is 23 years ago. Is racism a major problem in America? They said yes. But then the black teens were asked this. Is racism a big problem, a small problem, or no problem in your own daily life? 89% said no problem or a small problem in my own daily life. In fact, more black teens and white teens said failure to take.
But Larry, what did you say that study was? Hold on, Larry. You said that study was in 1997?
Yeah, before Barack Obama got elected and reelected. So I would think that whatever racism
that matters.
We're in 2020. You want to bring up a study that was done 23 years ago?
The relevance of it is, wouldn't you think that America was more racist in 1997
Yes.
than now? Even then, black kids.
No, actually, I think it's more racist now than it was in '97. Because I think people have.
You guys are so intent on improving the country.
Larry, let me actually. I don't. Hold on. Larry, I want to say.
Why are you so intent on improving a country that has been so
Larry, please. Larry, please. I'm going to tell you why I think it's more racist, and then I want to give you the final word.
Let me hear it. I want to hear it.
Thank you.
I think it's more racist because of Donald Trump, because of the things he says, and he has given permission. Let me just make my point. You get the final word. He has given people permission to be racist. He has given people permission to be violent. He has talked about liberating states. He has talked about white supremacist groups standing by. He is deliberately not using the proper pronunciation of Kamala Harris's name. He is doing a lot of stuff that sounds racist, that is giving people permission. And that's why I think we're seeing this influx of racism, which I believe is worse than in 1997. Wow. You have the last word. You have the last word.
Wow. The high point of race relations for both whites and blacks took place during the administration of George W. Bush. It dramatically catered during the second term of Barack Obama when he was saying things like the Cambridge police acted stupidly. We have a little place called Ferguson. When he was touting Black Lives Matter, that's when race relations really declined. There is a city in Texas called Abilene, which is the city of 100,000 population or more that most voted for Donald Trump, almost 80%. Guess which city just voted for a black mayor? Its first black mayor, Abilene, Texas. Now, how is it if Donald Trump is sending a racist dog whistle to voters, the same racist dog whistle turned around and voted for a black man for mayor? It's BS. Donald Trump has done a great deal for black people, most especially the economy. Secondly, supporting choice in school. Thirdly, doing something about the competition posed by illegal aliens. That's good enough for me. The rest of it to me is just white noise, pardon the expression.
White noise.
Okay, we will leave it there.
all things aside, all jokes aside, I've said it before, the problem is that people rely too heavily on the media for their main source of information. People don't critically think and look at the statistics outside of what they're being fed, outside of what they're being told. And I know a lot of people are going to say, but the media being owned by the liberals and the Democrats, I know I've heard it, but like I said, if there's a certain agenda going on, the agenda is that they want to divide people. They want to literally divide every single person based off of, Republican or Democrat or black or white. But that's what I'm trying to say. When you look at reality and you look at the statistics, and even when he brought up the documentation from 23 years ago about the poll about the black kids and the white kids, and he said something like 89% or within that range, that a lot of the black kids said that no, racism at least isn't, a big part of their daily life. To throw the baby out with the bathwater and to say that black people do not experience racism or anything like that, just on the subject of black people, it just goes to show that how all that goes against the mainstream narrative of division, of whatever, race against race and all of these types of things. But the facts are the facts, and I'm not here to debate whether Trump was a good guy or a bad guy. As what we saw with Larry Elder, is America more racist now than it was, 60 years ago? And I would say no. For a lot of people, there is still racism in America. But I think what they're referring to, they were talking about the systemic racism and then racism. What they're referring to, and I took an African American studies class, but pretty much what they said is that you have to have the power, the privilege, and the prejudice. My question is, for people who believe in the power, privilege, and prejudice thing, is how far does it have to reach? If I were to go to Africa, let's say Rwanda, the president of Rwanda is, I think, currently Paul Kagame. He's black. He's from Africa. Would you still say that there is white racism within Rwanda, even though that the highest form of authority is a black man? And they're gonna say, well, no, but it's, white people. They pretty much colonize the entire world. They own the power, the privilege, and the prejudice. But I'm just like, okay, but what about the black leaders who are standing up against certain, European influences that they do not want in their countries and their societies? When you really start attacking it, even from the most basic of standpoints, really just kind of falls apart. I really like Larry Elder. He brings his facts to the table, and I really like how he brought up the poll. Like I said, that poll of what even black people said, mind you, before the Obama administration, really goes to show the mindset of what was going on in the minds of, African American people. Like I said, before we had a black president, I actually didn't know what to expect going into this, but he's He is like the black Ben Shapiro. He talks fast, he has his knowledge, he has his facts, he has his statistics. The sad part about all of this, everything that I just said, is that he just said, wait, you're looking at statistics. You're looking at statistics, how dare you? I'm just like, what? And honestly, this just goes to show the amount of brainwashing that as humans we have endured. Like I said, in my opinion, I feel like the disconnect goes just way beyond black and white. It goes with political parties as well. You know, you're being screwed either way. You know, that's just how I see it. So we're going to be looking into way more Larry Elder. I wasn't expecting this. If there's any books you guys recommend me to read by Larry Elder, please enlighten me. I would love to read more about the statistics and the polls that he was referencing in this video. Thank you guys again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.